Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Warzone Weekly, your one-stop shop for everything Call of Duty. Myself and Mortem, over that way,
Hello.
um, giving you all your info. So first up, Warzone news. Your updated playlists, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. We have they're adding in third-person BR mode for trios, which I think was actually really popular with a lot of people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think it
I
actually
think
did better than I thought it would, really.
yeah, I think a lot of people did like it. Now it's back. Maybe I'll try it out. I haven't tried it out yet. Might give it a go for a game or two. They've removed Warzone Cup, which was your knockoff Rocket League. They're keeping all modes for your regular BR, your mini royale trios, and your DMZ trios. So those are all your playlists for the coming week over Christmas. Speaking of DMZ trios, they removed Building 21 in DMZ. It was up for like 24 hours and they've taken it out. Assuming there's some kind of exploits involved, in-game bugs with the building, etc., etc. From what I saw, though, it's very positive around Building 21. I've seen a lot of people who have played it online really rating it. And apparently the AI is like walking into a Terminator. Apparently the AI are strong in there to make some interesting, like, good gameplay as well. So there's a lot of love for DMZ at the moment around the internet, so it seems quite promising. But as well as DMZ, in your BR modes, loadouts are back.
Finally.
You can finally buy a loadout at the buy station. So if you want to buy a loadout at the buy station, different amounts for different game modes. So solos is 8 grand, and then every mode after that is 8 grand per person basically. So it's 8 grand in solos, 16 grand in duos, 24 grand in trios, and 32 grand in quads. Just pop to the buy station. I believe it's the same as UAVs, and it's like 1 per buy station. So try and get there early if you can, if you want to drop on one. Which is obviously, if you can find the cash, it's now the fastest way to get a loadout.
Yeah.
But they have also moved the loadout drop that comes from the plane in the game is now zone 1. Is that right?
Two.
2?
I,
Zone 2?
I think it's
Start
zone
of zone 2.
two. Yeah, very early zone 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So you now get loadout drops zone 2 nice and early in the game. Alternatively, you can hit a stronghold, complete the stronghold by arming the bomb and then disarming the bomb. Arming the bomb, disarming the
This
bomb.
kind of one.
Disarming, one of the two. Kill the AI in there, disarm the bomb, gives you your loadouts there you can select from. Or if you kill somebody who's done that and take their black site key, you can go to a black site and do that and get a loadout from there as well, which are now all of your methods for getting a loadout, which is nice. There's now more variety. Previously, it was stronghold or one of the 3 loadout drops in like zone 5,
Yeah.
which I think was a bit harsh, considering Warzone was all about the difference between Warzone and other BRs was getting your loadout.
Yeah.
I like that they've gone for more of a traditional BR style, but I also like they've brought the loadouts back to keeping with the Warzone-ness of it, which I think make a big difference. I quite like it. But getting your loadout on a drop is still quite hostile.
Yeah.
I think probably even more so now because there's more people around them. They're active. Like every time we go for a loadout, there's probably 3 other teams coming out at the same time.
Yeah. I'd say we played last night and there was a lot of, like, it is risky. Like, especially if you come back from the gulag and you're like, I'm going to drop on that loadout, there's a higher chance. Also, now that loadouts are a lot more available and people can buy their own one with the grenade and bring it in, there's a higher chance that going for a loadout you will die to someone who already has their own loadout.
Yes.
And obviously that means there's a lot more people with snipers early in the game, so they're going to be like watching loadouts from a distance. So it's not even like they're going to be sitting right next to it. They could be in a window 100 meters away doing your box camper. So
Yep. For
it
sure.
is a lot. is a bit riskier, but I'm glad that there's more availability. Plus, like, you know, the update with the strongholds, now there's 5 of them instead of 3, so that gives you another
Yes,
2 chances. So
that definitely helps. Definitely helps.
yeah, but the chances of you actually getting a loadout early in the game now are actually pretty good. Like, there's multiple methods, which is basically what everyone wanted.
Yeah, or if you straight up don't want to risk, if you're either a low skill player or just not confident in in the game yet, and you don't want to risk getting a loadout, because that it's fair, the AI aren't anything to mess around with.
No, they
At
can be a bit.
strongholds, they're pretty fierce, and obviously it's risky going for a loadout on the road. So alternatively, they have also dropped the cost of your guns at the buy station.
Yeah.
So you can go to the buy station and they're now 2,500 instead of 5,000. So you can effectively now get 2 for the price of what 1 was before. So that's your other option, which I think's nice. You can definitely do that at start game. You 100% find enough cash on the floor to be able to do that, which I like. I think that's really nice to do. But in terms of actual Warzone, that's it really. There's no real patch notes. You've got playlists. You've got DMZ removing building 21, and you have the new way to buy loadouts, and that is it for Warzone. But very excitingly, what was very exciting was the CDL last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
First major, if I can bring it up, there we go. And it was really exciting. There are a lot of really good games, some shock games along the way. But overall, it was a really good watch. If you wasn't watching it or missed anything exciting, I'm sure you can go and watch the VOD on the Call of Duty Twitch channel, something like that, or various other methods across YouTube, I'm sure. Some really exciting games. I watched, one of the ones I was watching was Optic and the Florida Mutineers. It was a good game, a lot of back and forth, and then in the very last game to win, Florida Mutineers go 6-1 on Search and Destroy.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute whitewash. It was like me and you playing against a pro team. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. It got pretty messy at the end. And then Optic are out of a major like before it even sort of like got into the meat of it, like the actual playoffs and the elimination brackets and stuff like that. Like, to me, it's a bit unthinkable. Like, Optic are out before it even gets to like the proper good bit. But yeah, so they need to go back to the drawing board very quickly.
Like obviously they've got coaches, they're pro players, they know what they need to work on and whatnot. But it wasn't pretty, and obviously 3-0 against Toronto Ultra. So something wasn't right that weekend for them, but I'm sure they'll go to the drawing board and come back again. But then like sometimes you just can't tell from game to game. So like Atlanta FaZe go 3-0 versus the Seattle Surge. And then the Seattle Surge go 3-0 versus the LAG Academy, who previously beat the Royal Ravens 3-2. So I know like they're like not at the top of the leaderboard, but the Royal Ravens aren't a team to take too lightly at the moment. So to go 3-2 against them, they've done a hell of a job.
Yeah.
And then to go 3-0 versus Seattle Surge, and then they lose 3-0 to FaZe. Like, you just, from game to game, you can't say this team is going to win this. I think it's going to be, and for that reason, I think it's going to be a really exciting season. And then other games, like the LA Thieves were really going for it last weekend. They really did put a shift in. And then you go to sort of the finals over here. Seattle Surge go and beat LA Thieves 3-1. They then go New York 3-1. And then Seattle Surge again 3-2 versus FaZe, and then go 4-1, losing to the New York in the finals.
Yeah,
they were on such a good streak, and then obviously, don't get it wrong, New York were obviously again they were on a great streak to get to the finals also, but to go 4-1 is just not what you expected.
I think New York did really well, considering they got 3-1 by Surge and knocked down to the losers bracket, lower bracket. To then make the lower bracket run, which is always really hard because you're playing a lot of games in a day and you can be eliminated at any time. You've got to turn up in every match. But yeah, to get knocked down and then come back and beat the team that beat you earlier must feel really good.
That's got to be a bit of a mind game, right? That you've already lost to them previously now, and then you're going back against them in the finals, and then but obviously it must have amped them up a bit to go 4-1 in the finals. But so yeah, they lost out to Seattle Surge 3-1 in the winners round 2, and then that knocked them down to the losers bracket. And then they went 3-1 versus Vegas Legion. They went 3-2 versus Toronto Ultra. And then they went 3-1 against FaZe. And then, 4-1 in the finals. But yeah, across the whole weekend, there was some fantastic games played.
That's the thing. I feel like each team had like maybe a couple, but I feel like quite a few of the teams had a really great series. Like at least one series where they can look back at the VODs and be like, we played that really well. That was like
100%.
Premium Call of Duty from us. And they can, like the Surge game against FaZe, both teams were playing at a high level, but it seemed like the higher FaZe went, the higher Surge went, and their players started to really start cooking. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that Surge lost in the end, but I think they can still hold their heads pretty high. They had a very good run. They stayed in the winners bracket the whole time. Like they didn't have to make a losers bracket run. But New York were like people were like sort of questioning New York like early in the season. And like, is their roster all that? Blah blah blah. Like is Hydra sort of in his head in the game? And then they come through and they like go down to the lowest bracket and just blitz a bunch of teams. And in the final, their stats were ridiculous. They were all just really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think their roster is actually starting to really blend, and that'll do brilliant for their team chemistry. Like winning the first major of the year.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the next major now. I was disappointed that London Ravens went straight out. Obviously, I'd like to see them do a little bit better, but again, they're not a team to take lightly. They had a poor weekend. Again, they're professional players, right? They know what they need to work on from weekend to weekend when they lose. So I'm sure the next one we'll see them back and better than previous. When is the next major? That's what we need to have a look at, I think. See if we can take a look at that.
The next major is February the 2nd to the 5th.
February 2nd.
Boston Breach major.
Okay. That is that's gonna be quite exciting then. If the last weekend is anything to go by, then it is going to be a very good weekend. I
just hope
just at the top there.
I just hope the Boston crowd is as good as the crowd at RALEIGH, to be honest, because the crowd was really good for that series. Maybe a little bit in the S&D, some people shouting out like normal, but apart from that, the crowd energy was really good. They cheered for everyone. It was like good pantomime as always, like when FaZe were losing and they were chanting overrated at them and all that sort of stuff. And it's like good. There's a lot of good banter going on. So no, I thought it was a good major overall. I hope Boston's sort of like at least the same in terms of
hopefully
the
we get a
crowd
major over in the UK sometime soon.
I really hope so.
I would like that a lot. But so we have, you had the RALEIGH major, which was the one that's just been last weekend. Then you got the Boston Breach major, which is number 2. Optic Texas is 3. Major 4 doesn't say where it is.
No, that was was it New York that were going to do that, and I think they've pulled out. So now they're trying to find a replacement. I think it was New York. Don't quote me on that.
It's March. But fly them over. Get them in the UK.
Yeah, I'd love to see a UK major this year. Like there hasn't been one for a few years now, and the UK majors are brilliant. Like I feel like it's just so loud.
Yeah, the
Like,
last one was held at the Olympic Park.
Mm.
One of the buildings they built for the one of the Olympic events. I can't remember which one it was. Might be the Copper Box, which was I want to say it's the Velodrome, something like that. I don't know. Either way, it's a lovely venue. You could definitely host it again. But that is everything. I think
Yeah.
that covers everything Call of Duty for this week. Again, we have great fun covering this. Hopefully, you enjoy listening to us talk a load of rubbish for approximately 15 minutes. So that's all from us. Come back again, like, subscribe, share with a friend. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.
players.